So, Mark, welcome to Wimbledon.
Great to be here.
You've joined us at a very crucial stage of the season. What convinced you that this was the right opportunity for you?
I think first and foremost, just the chance to work with good people. You know, I think it's the message is out there really that this is without doubt, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. And it's a different club, isn't it? You know, it's different in as much as it's, you know, the history's there, but there's such a close connection between the fans and the players, staff as well, everybody about the club. And it really, you know, when I was approached and started looking into it, it's really a club that's got a, and I hate the word to use really, but it's got a project. You know, it's a club that's ambitious. It's still, you know, everybody you talk to, it's still growing, but it's growing the right way, and there's still a lot of places and lot of way to go. Let's say so. You know, as a coach coming into that setup where, you know, you quickly establishing that. Most importantly, I think we got good young players, certainly there. And then when you're working with good staff and good people who run in the club as well, then, you know, it's in my mind, it's ticking all the right boxes.
Brilliant. So obviously, as you say, you've met all the players now and taken training today. What are sort of your first impressions of the group that you're inheriting?
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I'm getting to know them. Obviously, every hour that goes by, you get to know them. So I'm not going to sit here today and mention any individuals anyway, because, you know, as a group, you know, the one thing that stands out to me, they're a group that's eager to learn, eager to progress, eager to put things right. Let's say, you know, and the one thing, you know, I've been in the game a long time, and when you're looking at, you know, obviously when I was first, you know, approached with the situation of coming to AFC Wimbledon. You know, you like any coach, if you like, you do your homework, you're looking at games, you're going online, you're looking at stats, and you're looking at all different things. And, you know, and that's happened to me in the past many times. You know, a lot of times in the past, you go into details of looking at how the team's, you know, progressing and what's going on. And, it, you know, I won't mention names, but it can worry you because you look at them and you think, wow, you know, how are we going to start winning games with these? Because, you know, they clearly things are not going well. But, you know, the brief time I've had to do homework on the bunch and on the club as well, and on the squad and the individuals and the games, the shiny thing coming through to me, there's a lot of games that I watched, and I'm almost going at the end, wow, how did they manage to lose that game, you know? And all right, some of the fans might out there think, well, yeah, that's the problem, but, you know, as a coach, as a manager coming into it, it gives you a lot of excitement, a lot of hope that, you know, that we've got the ability to turn things round. You know, and it's there in black and white. But the performances is what I'm looking at coming in, and please God, I don't think we're a lot of way away from actually putting decent wins and points on the board. Certainly enough to keep us in the league.
We're currently obviously in a situation that none of us want to be in, as you quite rightly acknowledge. Is it just a case of taking it game by game at this current moment?
Yeah, I think you got to. You know, you do give yourself, you know, it's not so much targets, because I think if you give yourselves, you put targets out, they can easily let yourselves down, and the players can get sort of frustrated with that. But, you know, I said to the players this morning, and it's standard stuff to think. Well, you know, we're in a six team league. And we've got 30 days, 7 games. We just, plain and simply, we've got to make sure we're not in the bottom 4 of those 6 teams. You know, and there's pluses and negatives in terms of, you know, game in hand here, goal difference there. But all those things come together that, you know, to answer your question, yeah, you can only take one game at a time. And simple as that. And hopefully you're you're putting points on the board as well. But, you know, I have been, myself, Eddie Niedzwiecki as well, been in this situation many times over, you know, the last 20 years as a coach. And, you know, invariably, everybody knows you get a chance as a coach, as a manager, because the previous manager hasn't done that well at a certain time. They find themselves in the bottom 3. So I think it's about 6 times in the last 20 years I've gone into clubs who are either in or around, you know, the relegation zone. So it's not unusual to me. I've got a lot of experience of dealing with the group and the setup and working on, you know, mentally, physically, and tactically with those players anyway. So, you know, I'm used to it. I've got a lot of experience of it, and I think myself, Eddie Niedzwiecki, we know what's needed.
Yeah, one of those former clubs with Reading, of course, and done really well to keep them in the Championship. How do you sort of go about lifting groups of players when you come into that environment? And would you say there's a formula to staying up?
Not really, because I think genuinely, I mean, if there was an ultimate formula that worked, then, I look at the likes of, Sam Allardyce, who's right out there as being one of the best at doing it, and, unfortunately he went to West Brom and it didn't quite work there. So there's no hard and fast guarantees about it, but there are, certain things that you know, and I don't want to get into detail. There's certain things that I know that work with players, and again, there's two sides to it. Obviously, on the pitch itself, which is the most important side, but also the man management, the mental side of it, and the building relationships with the players and letting them know simple messages of what's expected of them. I think sometimes when players lose confidence, which they clearly do when a team's not winning, in the enthusiasm, they end up doing things or trying to do things that maybe aren't natural to them, and they get bogged down in certain ways. So initially, when you come into the building, it's trying to give them simple messages to remind them that they're good players first of all, but also not to complicate it too much, because I think sometimes as a coach we can all be, I'm talking too much now probably, but we'd all be very much trying to throw so many things at them. We've got to do this right, we've got to do that better, but sometimes it gets lost. It goes in one ear and not the other way. So I'm very much aware of that as well. But yeah, we had the first training session today, Chris, and pleased with what I saw. It's the difficult thing is that I've come in, we've got 48 hours before we play Sheffield Wednesday, and then after that a couple of days, 2 or 3 days before, so you don't get a lot of actual time to put any sort of real sort of detail or tactics into it. It's just making sure the messages you put to them are the right messages.
Absolutely, and obviously you mentioned your assistant there, Eddie Noveski. What would you say makes you guys function so well as a duo, having worked together for such a long time?
Yeah, well, the main point is we do know each other so well. We away from the working environment, we're friends, family of friends as well. We've known each other a long time. I know what Eddie's very good at, and Eddie knows the things that I'm good at, and I think we balance off as well, because Eddie'll make no mistake. If Eddie sees things that maybe need saying, or if he's got to maybe looking at things, perhaps Mark, are you sure you're wise about saying this? He'll tell me, and I think it's a healthy atmosphere. I think and I say that to all the staff. I welcome all the staff that are here, and my first impression of the staff here, very good. So I welcome them to come in and give me information. Not to be sort of the other side of my office door. And when I want to have as much information as possible, and it's up to me then to interpret it and take the good and maybe discard the bad. Yeah,
and it's been made of quite a lot in recent times. We possess one of the youngest squads in the English football pyramid. Nevertheless, there's plenty of experience in the group. Would you say it's just a case of getting them to rediscover their confidence that they've shown at stages this season before? Yeah,
I think so. Any fan on the terraces in the stand will look at the players and know the quality that they're seeing. But what really, I suppose, differentiates, let's be honest, a Champions League footballer between somebody who's playing in non-league football. Invariably, yes, it's the ability they got, but it's actually the selections they make when they're on the football pitch. Invariably the best players get the selections correct the most times. With young players, sometimes again, it's us helping to them that when they get on the pitch, they're making those correct decisions at the right times, and that's the key thing with young players as well.
Of course, and momentum obviously plays a massive role in football, as we all know. What is your message to the fans as we embark on these 7 games? I'm sure they can play a vital role, as we all know.
Well, listen, I'd only be saying something that everybody knows. Genuinely, I haven't even been to the stadium, not once yet, so I'm looking forward to that. I've heard so much about the atmosphere, certainly the home games as well. I know the travelling fans give their voice, and again, that's one of the things in me coming here that I was really excited about, the fact that I keep saying this connection that the fans have to the players, and I think that's going to play a major part, because not for 1 second, I dare say there will be, I was going to say I hope there will be, there'll be clubs in and around us who aren't playing well, and their fans may show their frustrations to them, and start, and that affects the confidence of players. And I think certainly, from what I know about the fans that come to watch our games, that, let's just say, that frustration will be far less shown to the players and maybe the other clubs around us. I understand fans, they want to see their team win, and any fan who goes to a game gets frustrated, but I don't think, from what I know and what I've heard, is I don't think Wimbledon's fans are ones that actually start, let's say, picking holes verbally at their players. That's never going to happen. So that's a major advantage we got.
And then lastly, what do you know about the club as a whole? I know you've mentioned certain points, and what convinces you that we can avoid relegation? I guess that's the key question, really.
Well, it seems to me they've done it a few times over the past few years anyway. So they're probably more adept at it than I've been. No, I think generally, Chris, it's the one thing that convinced me to come was when when initial contact is made, you start doing. I keep repeating myself, but you start doing a bit of homework on the club, and it genuinely is. It's a club that's. Phoenix from the ashes type of thing, isn't it? And everybody's wanting to pull in the same way, And after a long time in the game, you go into, even when you walk into a club, into the training ground, you may hear discerning voices, or people who are a little bit bitter, different things that have gone on. And even after 48 hours, 24, 48 hours, I've lost track of time, you can see that everybody has got a real feeling and a heart for the club and wanted to do well. So just to build on that is exciting anyway, and I'm really looking forward to it. I really am. I know, speaking to the players this morning, I don't see any young players or any players out there who are really, and I'd expect them to be actually a little bit more down than they are. But they when I say down, yeah, I mean they're disappointed, but I think they've all got this. They're wide-eyed and keen and ready to put things right. And so, we'll feed off that. We'll feed off it as a group, and we'll feed off it with the fans as well. And I know, I certainly, looking forward to Saturday, to Sheffield Wednesday, but just as much, if not more, the first home game against Charlton as well.
Mark, thanks for your time, and we wish you all the best.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Cheers.